Hello and welcome to part three. I'm going to start with some photos this time, and I will tell you that it's going to be a little hard not to share some opinions, as it relates to some historical facts and just some observations that we made walking through Berlin. So just know that I really want this to be just a general sort of overview of our experience, but part of our experience was. Um, Monuments and works of art that evoked emotions, and I feel the need to maybe explain maybe sometimes where those emotions derive from. So just know that little disclaimer up front. First of all, let's go through some photos real quick, and then we'll talk about kind of the experience. This was the radio tower, and it's got a little European Union flag there in the frame, which I thought was kind of cool. If I were a better photographer, I might have perhaps captured it a little bit differently, but uh, kind of just an impressive structure there. This is located, by the way, right outside the Rathaus, Rathaus, which every municipality, if I can use that word, I guess, in Germany, has. It's like their city hall, and obviously the one in Berlin is very impressive. When the Russians and the Allies sort of broke up Germany between East and West and Berlin between East and West, Russia took control of this building, and they took really the good stuff architecturally and I don't know in other ways as well. But anyway, kind of a cool building here. By the way, this was the elevator that would take you down to the subway. This was where we came out of the train. Um, And if you look one way, you get this red building. If you look the other way, you get the radio tower. So several views of this um, structure. We did come across a protest, or at least a demonstration, I guess I should say. They were maybe not protesting anything. I don't want to assume. But from what we could gather, it was a pro Israeli protest. They were met pretty harshly by the surrounding folks. We kept our opinions to ourselves, and I will attempt to do so here, except just to say I disagree with the pro-Israel protest demonstration, and we'll leave it at that. They were a little bit belligerent about it, which again I think encapsulates some of their true motives. I don't know if they were necessarily looking out for any starving children here. That's for sure. I think they just had sort of their own point to prove, and that's my opinion. So of course you can agree or disagree as you will. More of the Rathaus as we were coming out of the subway. Not sure why these got a little out of order. And there's the radio tower again. This is the Reichstag building. This is a building that was burned down by the Nazis when they were taking power. And this dome back here actually was destroyed. And then they kind of had a architectural contest to see who could um, replace it. And this design that won is a deal where you can walk in the front here. You can go and walk all the way up into this dome, and I'm sure the view up there is great. We did not go up there. We had already kind of put in a lot of steps that day and had some more to go. So um, I kind of had decided I didn't need to. Um, but this was also sort of an exhibit here that we did not go into as well. But um, Nazis burned the building down, blamed it on the communists, that sort of thing. This is the backside of the Brandenburg Gate, which was on the line between East and West Berlin. Um, I would say that probably means we were on the west side as we're looking at the back side of this gate here. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. I will say, as we were walking through this park, there was an exhibit, a monument for the Romani who were persecuted during World War II, and it was pretty touching. There were pictures of some children, and it tried to give their story of kind of what happened to them tragically in most cases, if not all cases. And it was a very cool um, memorial. It served its purpose well because it marked a place and a time for these folks who perhaps never would have been remembered. So it was very neat. Um, again, the Reichstag there. Uh, here's the front side of, excuse me, the Reichstag building, and the other picture was pretty much from the other corner. This other corner over here, I was standing over there when I took the picture back. So more Reichstag here, Stag, if you will. This is the back side of the building here. This was a picture I got of a fragment of the Berlin Wall. We'll get a better picture of the whole exhibit here in a minute, but I thought it was artistic in such that it did evoke an emotion from me. Why is it written in English, for one thing? And why is something else crossed out? You can see where people have kind of taken fragments of this wall home as souvenirs. Maybe some of it's just natural erosion, I don't know, but thought that was just kind of an interesting panel as part of the wall. This is the east side, I think, of the Brandenburg Gate, and the horsies up there at the top. We did try for a bad selfie pretty much once a day. We tried to get a bad selfie, and we usually succeeded in getting one, and it was usually bad. So just know that that's the case. Here is actually where that segment that said "Y" on it was just to my left as I took this photo, but I tried to get the whole picture. And then there's an exhibit below this cover here that we'll talk about here in just a minute. This was actual Checkpoint Charlie from east to west. And water tower that was graffitied. I don't know what they said. I think Cassandra maybe told me what they said at the time, but they have gone to some effort, I think, to preserve some of this stuff. For sure. Let's go to my journal real quick here. We woke up this morning. This would have been Tuesday, May 26th at 7:45 a.m., which is, roughly 50 hours, not accounting for time zones and travel time and all that stuff. Just 50 hours on the clock from the time that we had woken up in Denver. And this was really the first chance we had to kind of proceed without a schedule. We didn't have connections to make. We didn't have travel that day. We was just, let's go explore. So that's what we decided to do. First thing we did was we went and grabbed coffee and croissant for me, and Moonstreifen and coffee for Cassandra. She was always on the lookout for this poppy seed sort of pastry. Sometimes she found it, sometimes she didn't. But it's good. I don't know that it's something I would necessarily seek out all the time. I can tell you the croissant that I had was no better than anything I've had in America. So, just these bakeries are everywhere, and I don't know that they're all that, I guess, would be my opinion. There's a lot of stuff in Europe that was all that. So I'm not just being a downer. This just wasn't one of the highlights, that's for sure. So the first thing we saw after we left pastries and coffee was Checkpoint Charlie, and we saw those photos already. They did a pretty good job, I think, of kind of preserving at least a little bit of the back in time feel. You can tell they've tried to preserve some of those things. Something I did not take a picture of, and it kind of may be important to point out here, there were a lot of times I did not want to spend really any time looking at things through my phone to get pictures. And after we left Checkpoint Charlie, we actually came across a memorial to the Jews who were persecuted in World War II. And it was this, I would call it pretty much a city block. with granite sort of stone um, tombs arranged geometrically. They weren't random. They were very much in rows and columns. And the interesting thing was some of them, only came up to your ankle, um, and some of them went way over your head. And as you walked through this memorial, the ground undulated to the point that you kind of got a changed perspective. Sometimes you'd be at a place where you could see all the way across the field of tombs. And then sometimes you'd be in a situation where all you could see were the ones right around you because they were all over your head. But since they were geometrical, there were times where you could see all the way down one direction and maybe all the way down another, but then you couldn't see the other two directions, like before and after. You could see left and right, but not in front and back. If you got to a right spot, you could see all four directions, but you couldn't see any more than that. What it did, it contributed to a sort of a claustrophobic feel, sort of a weight, sort of an oppression, if you will, of memory, of just remember what these tombs represent, and just know that kind of no matter where you go and what you do, it always sort of um, hangs with you. It was very successful in the emotion that it was trying to evoke. So I would highly recommend going to see it if you're ever in Berlin. I did not take photos of it. It was something that I think that kind of had to just kind of be experienced. That's for sure. Um, Back to the Berlin Wall. That was a memorial and a museum specifically dedicated to the rise of fascism, um, the use of propaganda, um, the creation of racist policies, the um, brainwashing, if you will, of the average public into believing that all of that was a good thing. And um, it was a little terrifying in that it definitely seemed appropriate, or at least applicable to some of the things that are going on in America now. Once again, not trying to get too political on these, but everyone should really sit back and check their racism, frankly, and just know that systematic racism requires a segment of society that denies its existence in order for it to exist. So if you are a denier, just know that you're playing right into it. You cannot have systematic racism without a bunch of folks who just stick their head in the sand. And that's just not my opinion. That's fact. So um, be aware. Um, that exhibit and that museum was really kind of scary and depressing. And then we went straight to the Jewish memorial, which was very heavy as well. So there were some emotions that were being evoked as we were going. Um, when we wandered over to the Brandenburg Gate and the Reichstag building, the number one thing was just they were very impressive structures. And it's unfortunate that people have to take those things and use them for evil purpose, but they were. They absolutely were. Being in the spot though, and then like seeing a video of President Obama speaking there, of Hitler yelling his stuff there, of armies marching there, gives you a different perspective when you've seen it. It's kind of like seeing a mountain and then someday deciding to climb that mountain and then looking from the top back down. Your perspective changes. So from that day forward, every time you look at that mountain, you see both sides. And I don't know how accurate that comparison is, but it seems to have a common thread at least. So um, I do have it written down here as far as the memorial to the Jews, and I'll just kind of let you guys pause and read that if you want to. But it was enormous and daunting. I think those are two very good descriptors for that. We did come across kind of the last thing here, and again, I did not take a picture of it. This smaller monument. Now, I have a feeling it was the same person who did it, but they had created this granite tomb again, but it was much bigger than anything that was over in the Jewish memorial. Uh, and this particular memorial was to the homosexuals that were murdered, for lack of a more accurate word, by fascists in World War II. And if you looked on one end of this large granite tomb structure, there was a plexiglass window, and you could see a television inside of the memorial. And it has these two gay men kissing in kind of a whirlwind sort of camera action. You kind of see, you're kind of going around them, I guess. And superimposed, I guess they are superimposed over footage of just fascist um, record film. I don't know a better way to put it. Videos of Hitler speaking, videos or film of Nazis marching, of um, salutes, Nazi salutes, and that sort of thing. And um, that just goes on forever. So these two guys are kissing, and then this footage, if you will, is going on behind them. And I don't know what the memorial was trying to get at necessarily. I can tell you what I took from it was um, there was a lot of closeted homosexual behavior going on among the fascists who were in power. And the question must be asked, how did they know who to go after? If they're trying to get rid of all the homosexuals, um, is there at least a chance that they were homosexual themselves and they just wanted to make sure that stayed quiet, and that their closeted status could be maintained? And would they murder people to do so? And of course, the answer is yes. So um, that was the impression I got from it. If anybody else wants to interpret it differently, they can. I think that covers this particular part 3 video of what we did first day in Berlin. We did have another day coming the next video in Berlin, so we'll be talking a little bit more about that. But yeah, it's a little difficult, I guess, to just, for me, to just give you the report, if you will, on um, the vacation without at least talking a little bit about some of the harder stuff that we came across. And um, we discussed, I guess I'll throw this in, we discussed visiting one of the concentration camps. We decided against it, mainly due to time constraints and some um, logistical issues and stuff like that. But just so you know, you don't have to go to those things to kind of catch some of that horror of human history vibe. There are plenty of other things that have been put out there to help us remember, to make sure we don't fall into the same traps perhaps that led to some of those mistakes in the past. So that sounds like a great place to stop. We will resume with part 4 as soon as I am able to do so. You guys stay safe out there.